Hi, welcome to Financial Marathon, where we embark on the journey to financial independence one step at a time. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So, in today's video, we'll be looking at budgeting. We have all heard of this word at one point in our lives somehow. As a kid, for example, we loved the idea of accompanying our parents when they went shopping because we hoped we'd come back with something new, whether it was a toy or some candy. Now, there was always that one toy that caught your eye and you really wanted it. Excited, you would skip to your parents and drag them from whichever aisle they were on and point to the toy with a big grin on your face. However, your parents tell you they can't get it because it wasn't in the budget, and your grin slowly fades and you get grumpy about it. Remember? Well, those were the good old times. In this video, we'll first begin by defining budgeting. We'll then proceed and explain why budgeting is important, then look at how to budget, and as a bonus at the end of the video, I'll give you a few tips on how to make budgeting easier, so make sure to stick around to the end. So, let us get right into the definition. What is budgeting? Well, budgeting is the process of creating a plan on how you want to spend your money. A quick trip to Google will give you the definition that it is the process of calculating how much money you must earn or save during a particular period of time and of planning how you will spend it. Budgeting is a good practice in many ways. It works perfectly, especially when you would like to get something you normally cannot afford. Also, you see our senior right here? Let's keep him smiling and happy as he currently is. You can do that by hitting the like button. He'll be very happy and so will I. Budgeting helps you plan for an item in advance, save up for it, and get it at a later date. It is a really good practice because it actually keeps you disciplined with your money. Without a budget, you'll often find yourself broke because of money splurging and impulse buying. And there's a high chance you'll end up regretting your purchases because you'll end up not using what you bought or the item not serving the purpose it was meant to. So now, what are some of the benefits of budgeting? Number 1, you have control over your finances. That is true because when you budget, you can actually account for where your money is being channeled to. With the exception of your usual monthly bills, which you actually have to pay, you can decide for yourself on everything else. Is it worth spending your money on an item? What purpose does it serve? How frequently will you use it? The rule of thumb is, if you see something you like, don't buy it immediately. Go back home and wait it out for 7 days. If after that you still want it the same way you did the first time you saw it, then you may go ahead and buy it. But you'll find that most of the time that interest will die down. Number 2, you're able to set financial goals. Now, this may seem too ambitious for some people, but they do work for those who actually try them out. A financial goal basically motivates you to earn more than you currently are for reasons best known to the individual. An example of a reason could be to improve the standard of living. Number 3, you're able to set up an emergency fund. I think this year has taught many of us that relying on just our jobs can end up being catastrophic. Many were laid off and in most cases, they had little to no savings. How does one survive then? It can become a really sticky situation which may sadly even lead to depression. However, with budgeting, you can actually get to save up money to set up your emergency fund. An emergency fund basically holds enough money to cater for your usual monthly expenditure rate for a period of time. It could be 6 months, or 12 months, or even 18 months. An emergency fund is basically a safety net to fall on when everything else is crashing. If you like this video so far, why don't you take a moment and hit the like button? It helps the YouTube algorithm suggest the video to more people. Also, don't forget to subscribe and join the bandwagon. So now, moving on to number 4. You can organize your spending. We all have had bad spending habits, or still do, whether it is impulse buying or eating out too frequently. With budgeting, however, you get to organize your spending. You can allocate your money more responsibly, dividing it into how much you'll spend in a month and where you'll spend it. This will not only help you spot, but you can also curb your bad spending habits, which will in the long run be a relief to your bank balance. Number 5. Debt payment becomes manageable. Nothing is more stressful than knowing you have debt but don't have a plan to pay it up. It can really get to you and stress you. Based on how much money you earn per month, after taking care of the basics, you can allocate an amount of money to go into debt payment. You may choose to stick to a specific amount which you can afford to pay each month, and make sure it will be consistent. If you choose to pay 100 euros per month, then make sure you can afford the 100 euros every month, and not 100 euros this month, then 50 euros the next month, then 200 euros the other month. This inconsistency will confuse you and will also probably not be so likable to your lender. Number 6. Investing. Have you always wanted to get into investing but could not get to it because each month brought with it new hurdles? Well, once you learn how to budget your money, you can be able to set aside some money which you can then save up for a few months and then get into investing. Investing is basically sending your money to go work for you and bring back more money. When starting out, you don't have to start with a huge sum of money. Small baby steps. That way, it will give you peace of mind and you won't have to stress over it. If you've made it this far, you're amazing. Don't forget to like this video and click on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. So, just as promised earlier in the video, I'll give you a few tips on how to make budgeting easier for you. Tip number 1. Set realistic goals for yourself. Always remember that you're doing this for you and not anyone else. So set goals you're sure you can achieve and not goals that are probably too high. For example, you cannot budget for Ferrari when you hardly make 30k a year. It just looks absurd. Don't swallow the whole plate at once. Take one spoon at a time. Tip number 2. Learn to differentiate your needs and your wants. Your needs are things you cannot do without. Think of food, shelter, clothing. Your wants, however, can wait. Learn to prioritize your needs before your wants. Tip number 3. Take action after planning out on your budget. You don't spend hours planning your budget only for it to sit in a book on the shelf collecting dust. That will be a waste of time. Work on what you know you will execute. And the last tip, tip number 4. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Remember, none of us is perfect, and there will always be someone to help you, so don't be afraid to ask. On your budgeting journey, you'll be one happy camper with a feeling of achievement, which is a great feeling. So once you start, remember to be consistent and don't give up. I hope you take with you at least a few tips from this video. See you in the next video and happy budgeting. Take care.